them back to life.
You know, people sit out on the front porch hoping people will come by.
Go forth and do good. It's insane. I have the most understanding wife in the world.
I treat everybody the same thing.
Oh, that's the other thing I love about Marietta. It's like a melting pot.
You are listening to Marietta Stories. Each week, veteran podcaster Bill Nowicki brings you the heartwarming, interesting, and fun stories from the people that make the community of Marietta, Georgia, a place to call home. Here's your host, Bill Nowicki.
All right, here we are at the Hunt House. We got the smoker going. Smells pretty good, Paul.
It looks a beautiful day out today, isn't it?
It's chilly, but yes, beautiful. You got
right across from the bingo hall on White Circle.
Yes.
Hey, this is Paul Southern and I going around White Circle, 1127 White Circle, northwest of Marietta, just across from Kennesaw Battlefield Park. And we found Parsley's Custom Catering, the Hunt House, and the Gardens at Kennesaw Mountain. They're all the same place, same venue. We're going to find out about them. But this season 5 is all about Paul Southern and I finding places in Marietta to check out. Hole in the wall restaurants, and the Hunt House definitely fits that bill.
Smells delicious.
So let's get started. We tracked down Mark Summers and April Uden, who run Parsley's Custom Catering, the Hunt House, and the Garden at Kennesaw Mountain. Let's hear from Mark Summers and how he got started here at the Hunt House.
Sure. So the trajectory that got us here was my mom started Parsley's Catering in Dunwoody with another woman back in the early 90s, and then she took over in 94. I came on board in 1998 in the catering part of it after working in Athens, Georgia, and Portland, Oregon.
Now, were you always doing food there?
When I moved out to Oregon, that's where I started cooking and started kind of getting my sense of how to cook and how to source and approach to cooking that I hadn't really been exposed to. Right. My mom, when she did catering and does cooking, has a higher skilled, and presentation is very important, and things that are, incredible and take a certain set of skills. I don't have that knack necessarily. My main focus is on food and sourcing. And so then after that, I came back and worked with her in 98, and we were in Dunwoody for many years, and we were looking for a place to actually just move our commercial kitchen, and it was hard to find a place that you could just move into commercial kitchen wise. So we just looked online, and this place came up. It was open and available, and it was unoccupied for like a year and a half. And it turns out the gentleman who owned it before us, who passed away, wouldn't allow it to be sold to just anybody. So it had to be sold to a similar kind of concept and kept in that event mode. And so we were very fortunate and got the Gardens at Kennesaw Mountain. And then now further down the line, I know it's a long story, then further down the line, my friend Benny Galloway, who was living in Atlanta at the time, he's from Boulder, Colorado, a songwriter and musician, came here one day and was just really taken aback by what we were doing, both musically and food-wise. He's very passionate about music and equally passionate about food. And we joined forces, and he helped us start the Hunt House, where we have live music and good food. And it's nice kind of complement to our wedding and events space and our catering.
Mm-hmm. All right, Paul, what's your first question? I know you got one.
What was the Hunt House before you took it over? What was it called?
So it was just part of our Gardens at Kennesaw Mountain space. So the tour that we just had here that you guys saw, this was the groom's room. This is where we used to have a pool table in here and a hangout space, and we still did private events, wine tastings, dinners, things of that nature, but it was underutilized.
Didn't you tell us, April, yesterday it was a winery at one point?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, the gentleman.
I remember seeing the sign for the winery.
Yeah, so actually...
I remember that now.
Good, Paul.
So
you haven't lost it yet.
A lot of these were left in the basement when we... yeah. So it's Kennesaw Mountain Winery.
Yeah.
And what's now my kitchen used to be where he made wine at the very beginning. And then I think he outsourced it to Dahlonega, possibly. Helen. So it looks like back before Helen was what it is now. I mean, he was making wine in the 90s up there, which is kind of interesting.
You're obviously passionate about food. Let's talk a little bit more about that. Like, what are you serving tonight? Why did you pick those things? How did you get it together? I'm curious at your process.
So the process is collective in a lot of ways and also seasonal in a lot of ways. So right now, seasonally, we're not looking at a whole lot of stuff. A lot of greens and turnips and roots and things of that nature. So this menu is more hearty. So we did soups. Cold weather, nice soups. So we did a beef noodle soup for tonight, a pozole, which is like a kind of a Mexican soup with hominy. Delicious. That a lot of my kitchen staff really enjoys making. And then we also did crawfish Monaco. We had Fat Tuesday on Tuesday, Mardi Gras, so we did a crawfish dish, which is a white wine and cream sauce. That's really tasty. If you guys come back for dinner tonight, you can try some of that.
You ready for this?
Well, it sounds like we're going to return this evening.
I hope so.
And hopefully we can try some small samples of everything that you have.
We can give you a
tonight.
sample plate, absolutely.
Yeah, that's what we did the first place we did, yeah.
Yeah, you know, and that's also the other thing is we try to be accommodating. We tell people that when you say custom catering, I think a lot of times people are used to going into a place, especially a wedding venue, where it's like, this is our menu and this is very specific, and it's like
Makes it easy on them.
Makes it easy on them, but we're like, no, like we come, like challenge us, like you know, we've had you know, Ethiopian weddings, we've had Nigerian weddings, and we may not do the whole menu, but they'll say, hey, this is a dish that's special for us. Can you do it? And then we'll try it for the tasting, and I mean, same thing even with the crawfish Monaco. My electrician Mike, who got married, said, if you can't make this crawfish Monaco dish, we can't hire you. I know you're my buddy, but he was like, here, you know, here's the test. So he sent me a recipe, and we passed, and now it's on our menu.
It sells out a lot.
It sells out because it's just a really nice and unique dish. Cool. So,
April says that your ribs are amazing.
They are.
Tell us about that.
Yeah, tell us some secrets.
So, so the ribs, of course, low and slow on that. On the smoker, well, I use two different smokers. I use the Green Egg or the Traeger. The Traeger is giving me a really hard time because it's supposed to be kind of set it and forget it. Right. You just but it's kind of spikes in temperature, and that's the worst thing you can really do when smoking. Is if you think you're smoking at 175 and it goes up to 275. Yep. So we just do a real simple rub on it. We don't do anything fancy to it. We don't spray it with anything. We just put a little house rub on it and let it go.
What's the smoke? What wood?
So on the Green Egg, I'll use the hardwood from Publix, and I'll use some mesquite chips, like chunks. Mm-hmm. On the Traeger, it's their blends of mesquite and hickory. All right, cool. Yeah, and now I've got all this oak, so I'm really waiting for it to dry so I can use some of our fallen oak trees in our smoke.
Oh, right. Yeah.
And we've also got pecans. When Burl was here, we had a big smoker out here. He would go out and collect all the pecan stuff and use that for smoking.
Yeah, it sounds like you're trying to use what you have available, and you're passionate of it. It sounds like you got a lot of creativity too. You like creating new dishes?
Absolutely, and I think it's one of our strongest traits, and also probably one of the things that probably frustrates people most is like, well, last time I was here I had that, you know, and it's like, well, we did that, and now we're going to try something new. And we keep some things on the menu that are constants, but we try to experiment and keep it. A couple weeks ago, we started doing biscuits. So we entered the biscuit game, which is, as you know, is very competitive up here.
Very southern.
Very southern, and we, I think, knocked it out of the park. And now so we're running breakfast. We're doing biscuits, and we had a bagel competition. My mom has been home a lot, and she bakes and cooks and are constantly talking about experimenting. She's always doing that stuff. So she did bagels. So of course we took that as a challenge to, you know, see if our bagels were as good as my mom's bagels. And then so Jasmine, who works in the kitchen here, she started doing bagels. I was doing bagels. We were like taste testing, and because unfortunately we're not super busy certain weeks this past winter. So it's kind of like, well, if we're not going to be busy, let's be busy bettering our product, bettering what we do. Cool. And I think we got a pretty good bagel out of it.
I have to mention the ice cream that you made.
Oh yeah, the chestnut ice cream.
Right. He
Yeah.
went and picked chestnuts out there and made an ice cream out of it, and it was amazing. And it was such a long process for him to do that, but that's the kind of stuff they do.
Right. Yeah, the chestnuts. If you've never seen a chestnut pod, I think is what you call it. So it spikes everywhere. So you got to like get the chestnut out of the pod, and then you have to break open the chestnut through heat or boiling, and then take that out, take the skin off, and then cook it in something other ways. And then we made ice cream out of it. We've done ice cream, and we've done pesto. So our chestnut pesto we call chesto. Yeah, I've always joked that I couldn't be a brewer because I don't have enough puns to make like all the beers that have all the pun names. You know, I can't really. Right. But I got chesto down, so I'm good there.
There you go. I was going to ask, because you are a musician too. You play the guitar. How does creativity as a musician, and it sounds like it bled over to your creativity in the kitchen?
One of those guys who does a cooking show on one of the, maybe even Anthony Bourdain says that a lot of musicians are frustrated chefs and a lot of chefs are frustrated musicians. It's like it just kind of this balance that you go to any kitchen, you're going to find probably half of them are musicians or vice versa. And it's a good way to have a day job, and then you go play music at night, or even like have a night job and then you play music even later at night.
I love good food, and I love the Zaxby's over at 591 South Marietta Parkway, not only because it has good food, but the place is run well. And who runs it? John Sylvie. John Sylvie gives back to the community. He loves Marietta. He's always supporting sports, humanitarian things, and he makes things happen. And he doesn't look for a credit, but people have recognized him. He's won humanitarian awards. He's won business awards. He's a great guy. So check out the Zaxby's over at 591 South Marietta Parkway and help support his local franchise business. It's time to check in with my friends at Johnny Walker Realty. Let's hear from Johnny Walker himself.
You've kind of made it through that small business process into a, mid-size growing real estate empire.
Oh, I don't know about that. We're not trying to take over the world. We just want to be able to do a little business in Marietta and Cobb County and the surrounding areas, and we have great agents that work with us, and if it wasn't for them, none of this would have been possible.
Let's hear from one of their agents, Patty Kendrick.
What made you decide to come over to Johnny Walker Realty?
It was just a good fit. A lot of these people worked with me in the past. We're all old Marietta folks and support each other, and that's about it.
What do you love about Marietta?
Oh, I've lived in Marietta my whole life.
So you don't know anything?
I don't know anything else.
Well,
I guess all the love and support that everyone gives each other.
If you're going to buy or sell a house, check out Johnny Walker Realty. That's JohnnyWalkerRealty.com. They're at 600 Kennesaw Avenue, Suite 200. Give them a call, 678-626-0403.
And I think getting more philosophically, there's an article I read many years ago that of all the arts, that the two most ephemeral arts are music and food, right? You create, it's heard and gone, and you cook your food and it's eaten and it's gone. So it's like, it has to be in the moment. Those are things that, now of course you can listen to music on a thing, but if you're talking about the music experience, so it's like entertainment, That was pretty deep, Paul, for us.
I was just curious as to what you look for when you hire a band. Do you go to them, or they come to you? Or
So, that's a good question. Back when we first started...
Some of my questions were good, though, too, Paul. Just to let you know.
all of them were.
Right,
okay.
I'm sorry, yes, they've all been good questions. That was a very good question. So when we started out, Josh Thane, who's actually running sound for us tonight and plays in a band called Migrant Worker. So Josh was doing our booking because he was dialed into the music scene, still is dialed into the music scene. And he would reach out to people he played with or people he knew about. And also Burl would know folks and bring in people like Vince Herman and his son who played Leftover Salmon, John Stickley Trio, Travis Book ultimately, Larry Keel Experience. These were all people that were known to Burl and to Benny, and we would book them. And now, unfortunately, since COVID, we've had to cut back on our booking, but we're still getting requests from people. And now I'm handling it in April together. We kind of see what might fill seats and, of course, entertain us, but mostly original music. String music mostly, blues, bluegrass, rock and roll, but we try to make it mostly original music.
Support the local people and the people that are really, that's what they do.
Yeah, there's a lot of great local musicians out there that, we got the Ain't Sisters, we've got Donna Hopkins, Chris Stallcup, Migrant Worker, and some of it's up here, a lot of it's on the other side of town, but we try to get them up here, and people are hurting for it. They need it,
Chris Stallcup, I think we were talking yesterday that I've hired him before to play at a block party that we do over on Hazel Street in Marietta, and he played for us 1 year, paid him $600-700, and I called him a year or two later to come back, and he said, "You can't afford me now." And so I appreciate what you were saying a second ago about original songs, originality in these bands, and not covers and not tribute bands and so forth. And he's certainly one of those people.
Absolutely, he is one of my favorite musicians, and he just writes incredible stuff, and they jam out. And so for us, it's typically a door deal. So we give 100% of the door to the bands. So if it's a $10 cover, $5 cover, $50 cover, whatever it is, that goes to the band. Maybe there's some money in there for the sound guy or whatever it is we're doing there, but we don't keep any of that. And then some bigger bands that we've had out there do have a guarantee, like you might see it in a private event, and then that has to get covered by our door fee. And of course, we feed them really well, and that usually makes a lot of touring musicians very happy when they can come here and go to here in the Hunt House. If they're playing here or outside, they can come hang out, they can relax, get fed, not just here's your bologna sandwich and whatnot. Have at it.
Are you open right now just on Saturday evenings, or is there playing during the week?
We were doing stuff when we first started. We were doing Thursday, Friday, Saturday. We did house bands on Thursday, where someone would do a residency every Thursday, like Stall Cup. High Beams did a residency, I think. No, it was Tall as Pine did a residency. Control Burn was one of our first residencies, where they played every Thursday for a month. And we hope to bring that back again. Right now we do a jam on Thursdays, bringing that back in March when it warms up. Just bring your guitar, sit outside, play music. Maybe there's some food here. And then, of course, Fridays and Saturdays are a lot of times are weddings and events, which is definitely our bread and butter, but we try to fill that in. So Fridays have become actually a really good music day. We have a rehearsal dinner going outside, or a rehearsal outside. People come and play music, and then Saturday's a wedding. But if a band wants to come through and they only have a Thursday or a Wednesday, we'll try to make that happen. If it's a big enough band, but of course touring is at a standstill, right?
All right, last question, Paul.
So we talked yesterday between you and April about the Hunt House itself and its historical value and story. April mentioned that she's searched through 1,000 photos and has yet to come across one photo of this house. So I'd be interested in knowing.
Yeah, maybe we could reach out to people, see if when they hear this podcast.
There you go.
There was a gentleman named Brad Quinlan. He got really deep into finding out some stuff about the house, and then he ended up having some medical issues and kind of left the scene for a while. And I touched base with him back a little while ago, touched back base with him, and I mentioned it to him about digging deeper again, but I don't think he's really doing it as much.
Tonight, we're going to experience the menu, and what's on the menu for tonight?
So we've got the Craig Buford spicy noodle soup. We've got the crawfish Monica, the chicken pozole, which is a rojo style. So we've got guajillo peppers in there. Jerk chicken tacos. And for our vegan and vegetarian friends, we're doing a tofu and quinoa bowl. And that's going to have a miso vinaigrette. So a lot of times people want something vegetarian or just not meat. And so if we're going to do it, we usually like to do that, really nicely and
bar food
and healthy. Right. Yeah, it's not bar food. Yeah.
Excellent. So how do folks get a hold of you? You have a website, anything like that?
So they can go to any one of our entities, parsleys.com, hunthousemarietta.com, or gardens@kennesaw.com. Of course, we're on Facebook and Instagram for all three of those as well. We don't really have a marketing or PR team, so get us that way, and we're bound to respond sooner or later, hopefully sooner. And
and one last question. Did you ever feel like with COVID and all these other challenges that, let's just pack stuff up and make it simple on ourselves, or did you ever consider that? Or
I don't know what I would do. I don't know where I would go.
I don't think that ever came up.
Yeah.
I couldn't imagine doing anything else.
That Kevin Kinney show, March 13th, I think it was, right?
Yep, it was a Friday.
And then it was like the world shut down after that. And so from there until May, we didn't have anything. I mean, it was like we cleaned the kitchen about 17 different ways. We cleaned everything. We moved rocks, literally moved rocks and stuff around just to keep busy. And then into the summertime, things freed up a little bit. And we were able to scratch through a little bit there, and into the fall and winter, we had a little.
There's no weddings.
There, we had some weddings here and there. We had a couple clients and things, but of course, corporate business essentially disappeared. And we offer an alternative to things like Jason's Deli or one of these other big sandwich places, but we don't have that reach to get people back. But it's starting to come back. We're starting to see a light here, but yeah, packing it in wasn't really an option.
There's a love in it.
There's a love in it, and my staff has been here. Some of my kitchen staff's been here over 20 years. Derek.
Really?
Yeah, Derek's been here 22 years. So
it's not high turnover. Everybody, it's like family. There's 5 of us.
It's family. It's exactly right. It's family. I think we're in such a commodity business. All 3 of those things are high commodity businesses, right? Weddings, music, and catering. And a lot of those come with a certain sense of maybe, I don't want to say dishonesty, I don't think that's a fair word, but there comes with a lot of like catering, for example. It's like, oh, I could do that for you, no problem. You want organic? I can do that for you, no problem. But they may never have done that before. And then a year into your wedding's a year later, and then you get the product and you're like, well, it's not what we really talked about. And we try to just, on everything we do, we try to maintain a level of honesty and clarity that maybe is lacking.
Yeah. No, I don't know about you, Paul, but I get inspired by hearing about folks like this that help make Marietta what it is and really serve the community and just give back and all those things that we talk about. And I get inspired just hearing their story. How about you?
Certainly inspirational. Yeah, you guys are definitely giving back to the community.
My girlfriend Heidi Roy, Paul, and I came back 4 hours later. We had some Italian wines, some sours, which are sour beer, and then we started in on the food.
All right, Heidi Roy, I've had a couple sours. I don't think it'll affect my performance at all, but we're going to try what's that? That's the Mexican soup?
Chicken pozole rojo.
That is delicious.
Delicious, says Paul. This is all...
Oh, this is actually a combination of the crawfish Monica with the pasta and the biscuit, because I see a little pasta.
Man, this looks good. I'm going to try some. Paul and I have been sharing many germs. Man, that's good.
Crawfish Monica's incredible.
Try this soup.
What is the taco?
We have jerk chicken taco.
With cabbage and slaw and salsa verde. Oh boy, here we got more stuff.
We got more stuff.
Thank you, man. Oh, wow. We got some boats, some...
Fantastic.
It's out of this world. All right, so we're trying some more stuff. We have quinoa. You're not a big quinoa fan, are you?
I eat quinoa all the time.
Oh, really? What did I assume this?
I do not eat tofu, though. That's like...
Tofu is tasteless.
Tasteless, very bizarre texture food.
Not untrue, Heidi.
Making chewing sounds into the microphone?
We are. It is good.
He's going to edit it out.
Crawfish Monica's unbelievable.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
What all's in there?
So it's real simple. It's crawfish, lots of butter and garlic, and then it's a white wine and light cream sauce. Yeah. That's it. Real simple. A little Parmesan, a little Cajun seasoning and stuff.
Fantastic.
Thank you.
Oh.
It is. It's top notch.
And what? Jerk chicken tacos with a cabbage slaw. Same. It's all the same. Yeah.
Oh, great.
And then the sampler platter here, the veggies is quinoa. Yep. Tofu. It's just a corn and edamame kind of salad, and then the cucumber and onion salad with a little bit of grilled veggies. Thank you. And yeah, just a little sampler for you guys.
All right.
If you need something more, just holler. Let us know.
It's perfect.
Yeah, this is perfect. All right, so let's wrap things up.
You're super cute when you've had a beer or two.
Oh, yeah. I'm adorable. What do you think of Shaggy, the dog?
Shaggy is sitting right next to me wanting some table scraps, and he's the one that we think pooped in the leaves or I stepped in it, right?
But you've patched things up with Shaggy. It's the Hunt House,
Parsley Catering.
Parsley Custom Catering, and the Gardens at Kennesaw Avenue.
That's right.
And we had terrific food. The music's going to start in a few minutes. What would you say, thumbs up?
I like the personality of both April and Mark, and obviously these other musicians. They seem very friendly, outgoing. Shaggy just put his head on my knee because he wants some tofu, which I already gave him one piece of that. This is a place I'll definitely come back to.
Absolutely. They're connected with other farms. They were talking about a grist mill thing and a cornmeal. They got their pork they get from folks locally sourced. They have compostable.
Yes, compostable glasses. So all of the plastic, what look like plastic glasses will actually go.
Plastic what?
And I love that they do beers and sours, which I just learned about tonight, from local vendors. So supporting the community here in Marietta.
Thank you to Mark and April over at the Hunt House, the Gardens at Kennesaw Mountain, and Parsley's Custom Catering. Check them out, will you? And tell them Bill Nowicki sent you from Marietta Stories Podcast. And thanks for listening. Tell a couple friends about the show. Please do a review on the podcast app or wherever you get your podcast from.